Very good morning, dear students. Today we will be learning something regarding bioenergetics part. This is a part of BSc third year microbiology students and semester 5th, where we are learning microbial metabolism. In that we have a part called as bioenergetics. Now, living organisms must work to stay alive, to grow and to reproduce. All living organisms have the ability to produce energy and to channel it into biological work. Living organisms carry out energy transduction, conversion of one form to energy to another form. So for every cell to respire or for every organism to survive, he or she will certainly need an amount of energy. So in order to have an energy, there are certain mechanisms which are channelized inside the human body or inside the cell rather, where the cell have a give and take of energy from the environment or from its metabolic processes, and this energy will be utilized for the different purposes that the cell actually carries inside. Modern organisms use the chemical energy in fuels, carbohydrate lipids, to bring about the synthesis of complex macromolecules from simple precursors. They also convert the chemical energy to concentration gradient and electric gradients into motion and heat, and in a few organisms into light, fireflies, some deep sea fishes as well. So as we know that from where the energy will be procured? The energy will be procured from the different chemical substances like carbohydrates and lipids. And these simple molecules which are being generated are being helpful for conversion or degradation of complex molecules, and the energy will be taken from those particular molecules as well. Apart from that, the conversion of chemical energy would take place in terms of certain type of electrical gradients, motion, heat, so on and so forth. For example, fireflies, if we say, then these fireflies have an activity to generate energy, and because of it, the energy itself, the light production inside that firefly would take place. Correct? So biological energy transduction obeys these same physical laws that governs all the other natural processes. Bioenergetics is the quantitative study of energy transductions that occur in living cells and of the nature and function of chemical processes underlying these transductions. Means ultimately we know in terms of chemistry as well as physics as well that energy can be only transferred from one form to another form. In a similar way, the energy transfer process would take place, and after taking up that particular process, the transaction that takes place of give and take of energy is generally called as bioenergetics. So it is a quantitative study. It is a quantitative study. Bioenergetics and thermodynamics. Biological energy transductions obey the laws of thermodynamics. So what are those? First law of thermodynamics says, for any physical or chemical change, the total amount of energy in the universe remains constant. Energy may change from one form or it may be transported from one region to another, but it cannot be created nor destroyed. So the amount of energy that is present inside the universe is said to be a constant. We cannot change the ratio, or we cannot change the percentage of that particular energy inside the universe as well. Yes, one thing we can do, that we can convert that energy from one form to another form. For example, if water is there, water will certainly have some amount of energy, and when it is converted to ice, the amount of energy that is being transferred from water to ice will be totally same, so that the amount of energy will not be wasted, neither a new energy cannot be created. So only a single form of energy which was previously has now been converted into another form. So that can happen in terms of thermodynamics. Second law, what the second law tells us? The universe always tends towards increasing disorder. In all natural processes, the entropy of the universe increases. So entropy is always increasing by increasing as there is transfer of energy that takes place. The reacting system may be an organism or cell or two reacting compounds. The reacting systems and its surrounding together constitutes the universe. In the laboratory, some chemicals or physical processes can be carried out in the closed system and no matter or energy exchange with the surroundings. However, living organisms are open systems. They exchange both material energy with the surroundings. Living systems are never at equilibrium with their surroundings. Now another expression that we can go along with this particular aspect is called as Gibbs free energy. G expresses the amount of energy capable of doing work during a reaction at constant temperature and pressure. When a reaction proceeds with the release of free energy, that is when the system changes as it possesses less free energy, delta G has a negative value and the reaction is called as exogenic reaction. Okay? So whenever there is a release of energy, जो भी जिस प्रकार से एनर्जी रिलीज होती है, after that release itself we can say that this particular aspect is said to be the energy exchange and energy production. So energy will be given out, therefore the delta J enthalpy will be negative value, and where the reaction is said to be exogenic. Exo म्हणजे बाहेर जाणं, exogenic reaction. In endogenic reaction, the system gains the free energy and delta G is positive. The unit of delta G is joules per mole or calories per mole. So whenever there is a delta G is positive and such kind of reaction where the energy is gained by the system, then we can say that it is endogenic type of system. Enthalpy. आता हा जो पहिला जो concept होता delta G चा, तो सगळा associate कोणाबरोबर होता? That was associated with entropy. आता enthalpy दुसरा concept. Enthalpy is denoted by H. H is the heat constituent of the reaction system. H reflects the number of all kinds of chemical bonds in the reactants and products. When a chemical reaction releases heat, it is said to be exothermic reaction. Heat exchange करत असताना, heat म्हणजे काय? It's another form of energy. So the heat exchange करत असताना, one has to clearly mention that when chemical reaction occurs, the release of energy is exothermic. Exo म्हणजे बाहेर, exothermic. Thermic म्हणजे heat. Thermic म्हणजे heat आपण exchange करतो की heat बाहेर फेकतोय, at that time the reaction is said to be exothermic. The heat content of the product is less than that of the reactant and delta H is a negative value. Of course, the heat content the product पेक्षा heat कमी असेल त्यामुळे the reaction value is negative असणार आहे. And the reacting system that takes up heat from the surroundings are endothermic and has positive value of delta H. Endothermic म्हणजे ज्यावेळेस ते heat system मध्ये आणतात किंवा system बाहेरून heat घेते, at that time we can say that this reaction is said to be endothermic reaction. Endo म्हणजे आतमध्ये, thermic म्हणजे heat. The unit of delta is joules per mole or calories per mole, same reaction है. Entropy. S is a surrounding expression of the randomness or disorder in the system. The unit of delta is joules per mole or Kelvin. Under the constant temperature and pressure changes in free energy, enthalpy and entropy in biological systems are related to each other by the equation delta H is equal to delta G is equal to delta H minus T delta S. Delta G gives free energy of the reactant system, that is products minus reactant. Delta H change in enthalpy of the reactant, that is H products minus H reactive, हे आपण बघितलं आता. आणि T is absolute temperature. Delta is change in the entropy of the reacting system, S products minus S reactions. Living organisms preserve their internal order by taking the energy from the surroundings in the form of nutrients and sunlight and returning to their surroundings an equal amount of energy and heat and entropy. Simple साधीशी गोष्ट आहे. आपण एखादा एक्सरसाइज करतो. एक्सरसाइज करत असताना आपल्याला खूप घाम येतोय and after that we are releasing amount of energy that we have. So if you do not take any sort of water or any sort of salts or carbohydrates or sugars, then for the whole day you will feel very weak or low. So why such kind of thing would happen? This would happen because the energy equilibrium inside the human body is said to be disturbed. And once that has been disturbed, then the reactant, the system cannot work in a proper way. Therefore, we fulfill that requirement with the help of nutrients or by the sunlight or for returning the equal amount of energy. Example, the oxidation of glucose. This is one of the best example in bioenergetics. Aerobic organism extract free energy from the glucose obtained from the surrounding by oxidizing the glucose with oxygen also obtained from surrounding. The end products of this oxidation reactions of CO2 and H2O, and they are returned to the surroundings. At the end of the process, the surroundings undergo an increase in entropy, whereas the organism itself remains steady in the state. See this. 7 molecules of 12 molecules of CO2 and H2O, a liquid molecule, will be released. Whenever a chemical reaction results in an increase in the number of molecules, the entropy of the surrounding increases. whenever बघा काय मेन्शन काय केलेलं आहे ते एकदम नीट व्यवस्थित वाचा की whenever a chemical reaction results in the increase in number of molecules the entropy of the surrounding increases. number of molecules झाले की entropy त्याची automatically increase. whenever a solid substance is converted into liquid or gaseous the entropy of the surrounding increases. because of this transformation allows the molecule more freedom to movement. पटकन जशी मूवमेंट होते म्हणजे जशी आपण वॉटर टू आईस जशी मूवमेंट आपण बघितली किंवा आईस टू वॉटर जशी बघितली at that time the energy, the entropy of the system is said to be increased and therefore free movement of the molecule would easily take place. Cell requires source of free energy. Living organisms acquire free energy from the nutrients. Cell transform this free energy and and other energy rich compounds. They are capable of providing energy in the biological work at constant temperature. Right? So this is how bioenergetics actually works. Today's lecture we have seen that biological systems are working on this particular aspect. Okay, so this aspect of biological energy will be helpful for us in understanding how exchange of energy would take place inside the living organisms. Correct? So that's all for today. Thank you.